Hello, Cules. The Camp Nou still echoes with the vibe of the last match. That thrilling 2-1 against Mallorca on Saturday, August 31st, 2024. An evening that kept us on the edge of our seats until the final whistle. The stands were packed with that bluish-red roar that shakes the soul. And the pitch at the temporary Montjuic Stadium, since our Camp Nou is still under construction, was a battleground where Barca, under Hansi Flick's command, showed claws but also nerves. Yet, what really left us speechless wasn't the match itself, but what happened in the locker room just before kickoff. Flick, our German general, with that laser-sharp gaze and discipline straight out of a barracks, made a decision that shook the team and the fans. He kicked a player out of the locker room. This isn't some rumor floating around on X like market gossip, nor is it an exaggeration from a TV debate. It's a fact that leaked to Mundo Deportivo and is now sparking debate among Cules as if it were a Clásico. Who was it? Why? Hold on tight, because this is pure Barca. Football, drama, and that touch of Cule humor that makes us laugh even on the brink of a heart attack. And if you're already freaking out from this intro, subscribe to the channel right now, because what's coming next is even stronger, with details the headlines don't capture and that passion only Cules understand. The player in question is Jules Koundé, the French central defender, pure talent, but this time, he crossed a line Flick won't forgive. Picture the scene. It's 7:30 p.m., the sun is setting over Barcelona, and the locker room is a hive of nerves and rituals. LAMINE YAMAL, the 17-year-old who plays like he's 30, adjusts his ponytail with the calm of a superstar. Robert Lewandowski, the Polish killer, stretches like he's about to run the 100 meters, and GAVI, our Andalusian pitbull, smashes a ball against the bench like he wants to break it. Flick walks in with his impeccable bluish-red jacket and that aura of someone who doesn't negotiate principles. This Barca under his command is a machine. 6 wins and 1 draw in 7 league matches, 27 goals scored and only 7 conceded. League leaders, Copa del Rey semi-finalists, and qualified for the Champions League round of 16. But against Mallorca, a team that always makes life difficult with their pressure and Balearic pride, Flick wants no cracks. It all started hours earlier, during the midday tactical meeting. Flick, with his heavily accented English, reviews Mallorca's videos. A rock-solid team with Muriqi as a tower in attack and Samu Costa biting in midfield. We need solidity at the back and control in midfield, he says, looking at Koundé, Araujo, and PEDRI. Jules, you close on the right. We can't leave any gaps. Koundé nods, but arrives 10 minutes late to the session. Not the first time this season. He apologizes with a "traffic on diagonal is hell," but Flick isn't buying it. A few weeks ago at Osasuna, the Frenchman was benched for a similar delay, and the German had made it clear in the press conference. Punctuality is respect for the group. But today, it's not just the clock that's the issue. According to a source close to the locker room who spoke to Catalunya Radio, frustrated with sharing minutes with Araujo and Christensen at the heart of the defense, he blurts out during training, "Hansi, if I'm not playing as a central defender, I don't see why I'm busting my ass so much." Monumental mistake. Flick, who built a champion Bayern team on discipline and unity, doesn't tolerate complaints fueled by ego. Fast forward to the locker room. Minutes before the match. The Barca anthem echoes in the distance. The Montjuic stands are buzzing, and Ter Stegen, captain and just back from injury, tries to lighten the mood with a joke, "Guys, if we score early, I'll buy you beers at Barceloneta." Nervous laughter, because everyone can feel Flick is as serious as a referee in the 93rd minute. Suddenly, the coach stands in the center, arms crossed, and points at Koundé, who's lacing up his boots with that French elegance of his. "Jules, out. You're not playing today." The silence is so heavy you could use it as an anvil. He blinks, incredulous. "Hansi, seriously, it was just a comment." But Flick is unyielding. It's not the comment, it's the attitude. This team is one, and if you're not with everyone, you're not with us. The Frenchman leaves, head down, toward a box or some corner to stew in his pride. Meanwhile, the locker room remains frozen. PEDRI looks down. GAVI clenches his fists like he wants to go out and fight, and Lewandowski, with the calm of a veteran, nods, remembering his days under Flick at Bayern. Why Koundé? Let's put it in context. The Frenchman is a versatile pillar, fast, able to play as a right back like a dagger or as a central defender like a wall. This season, he's already scored a header against Rayo Vallecano, saving a draw that smelled like defeat, but the rotations are making him nervous. Araujo and Christensen are the starters in central defense, and Cabarsi, the 18-year-old from La Masia who defends like Puyol reincarnated, is breathing down his neck. According to leaks on X, Atculamaniaco privately murmured about a lack of minutes in his natural position. Nothing serious, just locker room stuff, but Flick, who had already warned after the 1-1 against Rayo, egos kill success, sees this as a crack, and in his Barca, cracks are either sealed fast or turn into abysses. The tunnel before the match is pure nerves. Without count, Flick lines up Eric Garcia alongside Araujo in defense, with Bald and Cancelo as fullbacks. Mallorca comes out guns blazing, with Muriqi, Dani Rodriguez, and a Samu Costa who bites like a guard dog, but Barca, stung by the expulsion, comes out with a different fire. Minute 5. Bald recovers on the left wing. Passes to Yamal, who dribbles past Mojica like he's a cone. Low cross, and Lewandowski, the eternal Pole, finishes with a subtle touch, 1-0. Montjuic is alive, and in the box where Count is watching, according to a tweet from @Barca Universal, with headphones on and a poker face. He claps, though his eyes say, "This hurts." Flick, from the bench, shouts, "High pressure, no spaces." The message is clear. Without Count, the team must be more of a team than ever. The match is a roller coaster. Mallorca, true to their style, doesn't give up. Minute 20. Muriqi heads a corner, but Ter Stegen, the German wall, pulls off an impossible save. The keeper, who's returned from injury like he never left, shouts, "That's Barca." The stands roar his name, and a fan shouts, "Marc-Andre, thank God you didn't go to Arabia." Laughter, because cool humor always finds its place. Minute 35. GAVI, the soul of the team, recovers in midfield and passes to PEDRI, who threads a ball to Rafinha. The Brazilian, reborn this season with 4 goals, shoots, but Pablo Maffio deflects it. The rebound falls to Dani Olmo, who finishes with class, 2-0. Olmo, the star signing who already has 3 goals and 5 assists, celebrates by pointing to the stands, and Montjuic roars as if it were the Camp Nou. But Mallorca is no pushover. In the 42nd minute, a mistake from Eric Garcia, who isn't having his best day, allows Dani Rodriguez to slip through and score the 2-1. The stadium murmurs, and Flick, on the bench, adjusts the defense with gestures that seem like military orders. At halftime, 2-1, and in the locker room, the German doesn't yell, he motivates, "This is what I want. Unity, fight, Barca." Meanwhile, GAVI, sweaty and fiery-eyed, adds, "Guys, for the crest, we don't give up." Without Count, the team tightens like a fist. Yamal, with that freshness of a kid, jokes, "Eric, if you mess up again, I'm sending you to La Masia for training." Laughter, and the tension eases. The second half is a siege. Minute 55. Marc Casado, the youngster from La Masia covering for the injured De Jong, recovers the ball and launches Yamal. The mine. The phenomenon. He dribbles past 2 players and shoots. But goalkeeper Grau flies to save it. The stands roar, "Lamine, you're an alien." Flick brings on Ferran Torres in place of an exhausted Rafinha, and the Valencian nearly scores in the 70th minute, but his shot hits the post. Mallorca presses, and at the 80th minute, Muriqi almost equalizes, but Araujo, the Iron Charrua, cuts him down like a titan. The Uruguayan, who has been a wall this season, receives an ovation that echoes. Flick, from the technical area, applauds, "There you go, Ronald. Unity." The end is nail-biting. At the 88th minute, Samu Costa shoots from long range, but Ter Stegen pulls off another miraculous save. At the 93rd minute, with the crowd in a frenzy, PEDRI recovers the ball, runs 40 meters, and passes to Lewandowski, who misses the unmissable. It doesn't matter. The referee blows the final whistle, 2-1, and Montjuic explodes. Flick hugs his players, and in the stands, Actu shouts, "Jules, next time, come on a scooter." Laughter, because humor is our shield. In the box, Count applauds, but a tweet from @Spedercule captures him looking serious. Jules knows the lesson stings, but he's a Cule. And here's the second act, as natural as a goal in stoppage time. Click the subscribe button, because you won't see this on any news channel, and what's coming next, the return of Count, the duel against Valencia, will leave you speechless. In the press conference, Flick is direct, Jules is a professional, but today, he wasn't with the team. He'll come back stronger. Count, in an Instagram story he quickly deletes but which at Fanscaptura saves, writes, "My mistake, tomorrow 100% for Barca." In the locker room, GAVI gives him a hug. "Jules, you're a crack, but here we all run." Laughter, and peace returns. According to Sport, Flick spoke with him privately. "You are key, but Barca is bigger than all of us." Count nods and promises to be on time for every session. This 2-1 wasn't just a win, it was a choice. Flick has built a Barca that mixes stars like Lewandowski, who has 8 goals this season, youngsters from LAMINE like YAMAL, with 5 goals and 8 assists, and pillars like Araujo. The squad is a luxury. Ter Stegen in goal, Bald and Cancelo as fullbacks, PEDRI and GAVI in midfield, Olmo as the creative brain, and signings like Rashford, loan from United, and Bargi, the promising Swede, add to the mix. The departures of players like Gundogan to Atletico and Ansu to Monaco hurt, but the team is growing. Rumors about Kim Min-jae for 2026 are heating up on X, and the leaked gradient blue and red jersey by @Selenako_collection already has us dreaming. Injuries to Joao Felix and Jamal Musiala kept them from playing today, but they'll be back soon. This expulsion is Flick in his purest form, serious, but with a touch of irony that brings a smile. Like when he said in pre-season, "In Germany, if you're late, you clean the boots. Here, I look at you, and you learn." Count returns today against Valencia, and Barca, unbeaten in spirit, continues with the post-match dinner at a restaurant in the Bourne. Flick jokes, "Jules, the next time you're late, I'll have you selling scarves." Laughter, and the team comes together. That's Barca. Jules, passion, lessons, and football. Jules. The night in the Bourne stays alive with the lights of restaurants reflecting on the cobblestone streets, and the team celebrating this hard-fought but sweet victory over Mallorca. A 2-1 that tastes like pure gold, because it showed that this Barca under Hansi Flick doesn't just play, it fights with soul. The atmosphere in the restaurant is the kind that makes you feel football is more than a sport, it's a cool religion. The players, still riding the adrenaline from the match, sit around a long table with plates of Iberian ham, croquettes, and a glass of wine or water. Flick doesn't allow excess. In one corner, Ronald Araujo jokes with Pau Cubarsí, telling him his tackle in the 88th minute on Muriqi deserves a mural at the Camp Nou. Cubarsí, with the shyness of an 18-year-old who still doesn't believe he's among giants, smiles and replies, "Ronald, you're the boss, I'm just following orders." The table bursts into laughter, and even Flick, usually as serious as a judge, lets out a laugh while cutting a piece of bread. But what really occupies all the conversations between bites and sips is what happened in the locker room before the match. The expulsion of Jules Kounde, a gesture that still resonates like a clap of thunder on a clear night. The scene at the restaurant isn't just a celebration, it's a reflection of how this team, under Flick's baton, is learning to be more than the sum of its parts. As the waiters bring more dishes, Roman-style squid, patatas bravas that GAVI devours as if he hasn't eaten in days, the players start sharing match anecdotes. Marc Casado, the youngster from LAMINE who stood out as a pivot covering for De Jong, talks about how he felt the weight of responsibility when Flick told him he'd be starting. "He looked at me and said, 'Marc, you're not playing for yourself, you're playing for Barca.' I almost had my legs shaking," he admits. And PEDRI, sitting next to him, gives him a friendly nudge. "Relax, at LAMINE, they teach us not to shake." The table laughs, and Lamine Yamal, probably checking his phone and looking at memes of his dribble past Mojica already flooding X, adds, "Marc, if you keep this up, I'm taking your number 80. More laughter, because humor in this team is like Flick's pressing, constant, but with class. At one point, as the group orders another round of drinks, Flick gets up to talk to Kounde, who is in a corner of the table, quieter than usual. The Frenchman, with his impeccable style even off the pitch, a black t-shirt that looks like it came from a Paris fashion show, listens to the coach attentively. No one knows exactly what they're saying, but a waiter who later leaks the gossip to a Rack 1 journalist swears he heard Flick say, "Jules, you're a leader, but leaders aren't late and don't question the group." Kounde, serious but with a glint in his eyes, seems to have understood the lesson. The scene reminds us that Flick doesn't just coach, he educates. His philosophy, forged during the glory days of Bayern, is clear. Talent is worth nothing without commitment. And in this Barca, where the squad mixes veterans like Lewandowski, who at 37 remains a box-to-box predator, and youngsters like Yamal, who seems to have been born with a ball at his feet, that commitment is the fuel that keeps the engine running. Meanwhile, at the table, Rafinha becomes the life of the party. The Brazilian, who this season has left behind the criticism and shines as the crack Barca recruited, tells how he felt Pedri's pass for the 2-0. It was like they put a GPS on the ball. I couldn't miss. Pedri, with that Canarian humility that disarms, replies, I made it easy for you because I know if you miss, GAVI hits me. GAVI, mouth full of croquettes, feigns indignation. Hey, I only hit on the pitch. The table bursts into laughter, and even Eric Garcia, who knows his mistake on Dani Rodriguez's goal earned him a furious look from Flick, dares to joke, Guys, next time I mess up, I'll bench myself. The atmosphere is brotherly, one of those moments that make Barca more than a club. It's a family that laughs, suffers, and grows together. But not everything is laughter. At one point, as the players order desserts, flan for Lewandowski, crema catalana for Bald, the conversation turns to the match and Koundé's expulsion. Marc Bernal, the 20-year-old midfielder who came on in the second half and devoured the pitch, quietly asks Casado, Do you think Jules got it? Casado, who has earned Flick's trust through quiet hard work, replies, Yes, he got it. He's a crack, but Ansi doesn't play with principles. If you're not 100%, you have to learn from the outside. The reflection is deep, because this team, though young, knows victories aren't built just with goals, but with attitudes. Flick, who listens from the other end of the table while discussing tactics with Ter Stegen, nods without saying a word. His silence is his weapon. It says more than 1,000 speeches. Outside the restaurant, in the streets of the Born, a group of cules gathers, drawn by the rumor that the team is there. Some take photos from the window, others sing Visca el Barca, hoping Yamal or GAVI will come out to greet them. On X, Koundé's expulsion is the talk of the moment. A tweet from @fans sums up the feeling, Flick isn't joking. Koundé is key, but the team comes first. Lesson learned. Another, from @Kulyamer, adds a meme of Flick as a strict teacher with Koundé at the blackboard, captioned, Jules, study punctuality. Kules, true to form, mix serious analysis with jokes that make us laugh, because that's how we are, passionate, but with a spark that keeps us alive. And speaking of staying alive, subscribe to the channel if you want to follow the pulse of this Barca, because what's coming, the match against Valencia today, the Champions League duel against Newcastle, will be a roller coaster you won't want to miss a second of. Back in the restaurant. As the players finish their dessert, Flick gathers the team for a toast. He raises a glass of water, nothing alcoholic, the German has clear rules, and says, To Barca, to unity, to what we are. The players raise their glasses, and Koundé, who has been silent but attentive, adds, and to learning. The table applauds, and the moment feels like a turning point. Koundé, who according to sports sources has already spoken to the press to apologize, knows his place on this team isn't in question, but that he must earn it every day. Flick, with that half-smile he reserves for moments of true commitment, pats him on the shoulder, There you go, Jules, tomorrow run. The Frenchman smiles, and the cules following the scene from outside or through leaks on X feel the team is more united than ever. The night wears on, and while some players like Yamal and Kubarsi retire early, Flick enforces strict bedtimes. Others like Rafinha and Ferran Torres stay to chat with the waiters, who turn out to be die-hard cules. One of them, a young man with a Barca scarf around his neck, asks Rafinha, What's it like playing with LAMINE? He seems from another planet. Rafinha, laughing, replies, It's like playing with a magician who doesn't know he's a magician yet. You give him the ball, and something happens. Ferran, who has been listening, adds, Yeah, but if you don't give him the ball, he looks at you like you stole his dessert. More laughter. The waiter, moved, takes a photo he later posts on X with the hashtag #AlmohadalaBarca. The tweet goes viral, because that's how our passion works. We live every moment as if it were the last. Meanwhile, in a corner, Ter Stegen talks with Joan Garcia, the new goalkeeper signed from Espanyol for $26 million. Garcia, who knows he's in the shadow of a giant like Marc-André, asks, How do you stay so calm in goal? Ter Stegen, with that German calm that contrasts with GAVI's fire, replies, I'm not calm, I just look it. At Barca, every ball is a final. Garcia takes note, and we think, this team doesn't just have cracks, it has masters who teach the newcomers. Flick, watching from afar, must be thinking the same thing, because his project isn't just about winning matches, but building a legacy. The conversation at the table now turns to the next match, today's against Valencia. Flick, who has already analyzed Bordalez's team videos, knows it will be another battle. Valencia isn't Mallorca, says Lewandowski, nodding as he finishes his flan. They'll press us like mad, but if we play like today, no one can stop us. Lewandowski, who scored the 1-0 and missed a clear chance in the 93rd minute, replies, "Mister, give me a ball, and I'll put it in the net." Flick laughs, and the confidence between the coach and the players is palpable, but the shadow of Koundé's expulsion lingers. According to a rumor on X, courtesy of at Barca News, some players like Bald spoke to Flick after the match to ask him to quickly reintegrate Koundé. The coach, true to form, replied, "Jules is with us, but today he had to learn. Tomorrow he starts." And that's Flick, tough but fair. Outside, in the streets of the Born, the Cules begin to disperse, but not without a final Visca el Barca, which reaches the restaurant. Inside, the players start saying their goodbyes. GAVI, who is never tired, suggests going to a nightclub, but Flick cuts him off with a look. "GAVI, go to sleep. There's training tomorrow." The Andalusian, laughing, replies, "Okay, mister, but let it be known I play even when I'm asleep." The table laughs, and even Koundé, who has found his smile again, adds, "GAVI, if you play asleep, I'll be on time even in your dreams." The joke, simple and heartfelt, ends the evening with a clear message. The locker room is united, and Koundé's lesson was a turning point. As the team retreats, the restaurant's waiters, now the unsung heroes of the evening, clear the table and chat among themselves. One says, "This Barca is different. Hey, Flick, no half measures." Another, with a messy jersey under his apron, replies, "Yeah, but I miss the days when Leo solved everything with a dribble." The first laughs, unfazed, "Yamal's coming with the same manual." The conversation, which could be any QLS, reflects what we all feel. This team, with its ups and downs, keeps us on the edge of our seats. And if you want to follow every detail of this roller coaster, subscribe to the channel, because here, we tell you what doesn't make the headlines, the laughs, the dramas, and the heart of this Barca that never stops growing. Back at the hotel, as the players head to their rooms and LAMINE calls a taxi, he still doesn't have his license. Flick stays a moment with his technical staff, reviewing notes on his iPad. According to a source from the newspaper, the German already has the lineup for Valencia. Ter Stegen in goal, Koundé back at right back, Araujo and Christensen at center back, Bald at left back, Casado, PEDRI, and GAVI in midfield, Yamal, Olmo, and Lewandowski up front. Rashford, who didn't play against Mallorca due to discomfort, could come off the bench. The strategy is clear. High pressing, ball control, and exploiting Yamal's speed to break through Valencia's defense. But beyond the tactics, what lingers from this night is Flick's message. Barca is a team, not a sum of egos. Koundé, who according to X is already at the hotel sending messages to his teammates to apologize, has learned his lesson, and the group, from Lewandowski to young Bernal, supports him. The night ends, but the Cule passion does not. On X, the debates continue. At Culemania tweets, "Koundé will come back like a bull. Flick knows how to tighten the screws." Another, at Barcomer, posts a meme of Flick as a chef cutting ingredients, "Egos, out of my kitchen." The Cules laugh, because that's how we are. We analyze seriously, but we never lose our spark. At the team hotel, as the players sleep, or at least try, because GAVI is probably watching tackle videos, Flick reviews one last video of Valencia. His mind doesn't rest, because he knows this Barca, with its mix of stars and youngsters, is one step away from becoming legendary. Koundé's expulsion wasn't a punishment, but a reminder, in this club, the crest weighs more than any name. And we, the Cules, know it better than anyone. Tomorrow, against Valencia, the Camp Nou will roar again, and Koundé, with his elegance and wounded pride, will run like never before. Because that's Barca. We fall, we learn, and we come back stronger. Cules, the Barcelona night continues to pulse with that unique energy only Barca awakens. And though the clock already marks the early morning after that epic 2-1 against Mallorca, the Cule spirit does not sleep. In the team hotel, as the city quiets down, the players rest, or at least try, but the vibration of what happened at Montjuic lingers in the air, like an echo that won't fade. The expulsion of Jules Koundé from the locker room before the match continues to be the hot topic of every conversation, from fan chats to internal team discussions. In the hotel lobby, an elegant space overlooking Passeig de Gracia, some members of Flick's technical staff discuss quietly, reviewing notes and sipping coffees that taste like an all-nighter. The Kules lingering on X keep analyzing, laughing, debating, because Flick's decision, harsh but calculated, wasn't just a punishment, it was a statement that marked minds. And if this passion keeps you on the edge of your seat like it does us, subscribe to the channel, because what's coming is pure Kule fire, with details you won't find in the headlines and that spark that makes us unique. At the hotel, the atmosphere is a mix of tense calm and camaraderie. Some players like Marc Casado and Pau Cubarsí are in the private lounge, sharing an infusion, nothing exciting. Flick is watching. Casado, who stood out as a pivot against Mallorca, still has the adrenaline of the match coursing through his veins. "I never thought I'd play 90 minutes against such a physical team," he tells Cubarsí, who nods while sipping his chamomile. "Dude, when you cut down Muriqi in the 88th minute, I thought you were Puyol at 18, the centre-back replies, and the two laugh, though it's a soft laugh, because they know there's training tomorrow and Flick doesn't forgive fatigue. At a nearby table, Alejandro Bald, with headphones and a water bottle in hand, reviews the match highlights on his phone. According to a rumor circulating on X, courtesy of Barca News, Bald was one of those who defended Kound most after his expulsion, whispering to Flick in the tunnel, "Mr. Jules is one of us, let him come back soon." Flick, with that serenity hiding a volcano, simply replied, "He'll come back." But today, the team spoke for him, and what a team! This 2-1 was more than a result. It was proof that this Barca, with its stars and youngsters, is learning to be a block of granite. Meanwhile, in a hotel meeting room, Flick and his assistant, Marcus Sorg, analyze the match on a laptop. The screen shows key moments: Lewandowski's goal, that subtle touch after Yamal's cross, Pedri's pinpoint pass to Olmo for the 2-0, and yes, Eric Garcia's mistake that allowed Dani Rodriguez 2-1. Sorg, who has known Flick since their Bayern days, notes, "Eric needs more confidence, but today, Araujo was a titan." Flick nods, taking notes in a notebook that seems to be his tactical Bible. Araujo is the soul, but everyone must be at the same level. Jules understood that today, he says, and though he doesn't say it out loud, his gesture suggests that Kound's expulsion was more than a punishment, it was a strategy to unite the group. In the streets of the Born, the last supporters disperse, some singing Visca el Barca with adapted lyrics. A final tweet from @Barcomer closes the night: "Kound arrives on time tomorrow, or Flick puts him to sell scarves on La Rambla." The Kules laugh, because we know this team, with its dramas and laughs, is ours. Tomorrow, against Valencia, Barca will roar again, and Kound, with his wounded pride but intact talent, will be there, running for the crest. Because that's Barca. We fall, we learn, and we come back stronger. Visca el Barca.